In today's video, not only am I going to show you how to build a super budget $350 gaming PC, I'm also going to show you how to upgrade it with the graphics card in the near future, but more importantly, I now have two little monsters at home and I'm in full dad mode, so we're going to make this a very quick and efficient video. Let's get into it. Today's video is sponsored by GVG Mall, an online key reseller with our favorite Windows 10 Pro keys. If you're looking to remove that nasty Windows 10 unactivated watermark on your latest gaming PC, head on down to the links in the description. Here you'll find a Windows 10 Pro OEM key for under 17 bucks, but we want it cheaper than that. Select buy now and enter the discount code ZTT18 for an exclusive 18% off discount, which drops the price down to just 13 bucks. Go through the rest of the purchasing options. I'd recommend PayPal, and within a minute or so, you'll get your Windows 10 Pro key. Now on your PC, click start and type in activation and press enter, choose change product key, paste in your new key, and bang, Windows 10 is now activated. This is my personal way of activating my PCs. Check out my purchased order history here, so grab a Windows 10 key for yourself with the link in the description using discount code ZTT18. Alright, so jumping straight into the parts list, everything I talk about today will be linked down in the description, by the way. This here is the Ryzen 3 3200G. This is obviously the bread and butter of any super budget new system like this, and rightfully so because this handles both the CPU and GPU processing power. This 3200G is not only rocking some decent 4 cores and 8 threads, but it's also packing the integrated Vega 8 graphics that we need, so we don't have to buy a dedicated graphics card right now. The cool thing about this system and today's video is that I'm going to show you the performance of how this $350 build is acting right now, but I'm also going to show you the performance of how it'll act with a dedicated graphics card, and for today's video I have a GTX 1650 Super. You've probably heard me say this before, but there's a ton of GPUs that you can eventually upgrade to with a 3200G, and I would highly recommend not going much further than something like the 1650 Super. Moving on though, we got to get to this RAM. Remember, you'll want at least 3000 megahertz so you aren't bottlenecking the RAM speed hungry Ryzen chip, and this here is a 2x8GB kit from YOLO, which is indeed clocked at 3000 megahertz. Following that, we have the motherboard, and just like typical ZTT fashion, I found a really good Amazon warehouse deal on this ASRock B450M HD VR 4.0, and this is all you really need for a budget build like this. For storage, I got a similar budget option as well, and shout out to Team Group for hooking us up with the CX2 512GB 2.5-inch SSD. This model is usually very easy to find at a cheap price. Keep in mind, you definitely could spend a few extra bucks and get an NVMe drive like their Cardia 0Z33 model, but if you're trying to go for as budget as possible or doing a gaming PC flip, something like a CX2 will be perfectly fine. Getting towards the end here, we have the PSU, and this is the EVGA 450BR, which I obviously picked up on Bstock for the very easy to find price of just 20 bucks. Remember that if you're following this build guide, you should probably buy a power supply that can handle whatever graphics card you think you're going to upgrade to in the future. This 450BR will be okay for a 1650 Super, but I definitely wouldn't pair any beefier graphics card with the 450BR. And finally, for our last core component, we have the case, and this here is the Moravol Mesh Micro ATX, and oh man was I excited to try this one out. This case has been consistently going on sale lately, and several people in our ZTT Discord server, which is linked down below by the way, picked this one up. When building inside of it, I actually didn't have any real complaints with it. The only problem is that once I turned the system on after building it, I discovered one single thing that'll make me never buy this case again.
What? Is that honestly the alignment of the fans? Oh my god. Oh my god. That's the alignment of the fans without any room for... Wow. That's the alignment of the fans. That's disgusting. Wow. Can you move them? No, they're already on the far right position. They're as this way as possible. I can move them that way if I wanted. Oh no, I couldn't even move them that way. No, I can't move them. You can't move them at all. 140s would be even worse. If you put 140s up here, the 140 on this side would actually go to the edge, and this edge, like if you had an RGB ring with a 140 millimeter fan, it would go to that edge there, but it would be even more out of frame on that side. Oh, that is so gross. This is a no-go for me. That's unacceptable. That's an official no-go for me.
So yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that this case has one single problem with it, but man, when you're looking at those fans from up at the front, this just looks so dumb in my opinion. I did add a couple of aesthetic options for this build, however, to try to compensate for our unaligned RGB fans, and the first one is of course some cable extensions, and these are just my normal go-to Asia Horse white cables. I also decided to not only remove the power supply sticker because our case has a cutout, but I also vinyl wrapped the side of the power supply with some black carbon fiber vinyl, and oh man, I really love how this turned out. I love that the wrap gives it a little bit different of a texture and design, and it also gets a little bit of light reflection, and it just looks so clean in my opinion. It also looks great with the other tiny vinyl job that I did on the graphics card to hide the ugly AF yellow strip. Why do manufacturers think nonsense like this is a good idea? But yeah, I just installed some wrap on the side here, and I think it looks great. All in all, this is what the final parts list is looking like, and if you decide to hold off on the GPU for right now while the market continues to settle down, you're only looking at around a $350 part total, which is great for what you're getting. When you do add in a GPU, depending on how much you spend obviously, this would end up being something like a $500 to $600 build, and then you're going to be rocking some serious price to performance. And speaking of which, we'll start off with the benchmarking section, and once again, I'm just a bit too busy with this new board at home to upload a dedicated benchmarking run like I normally do, so we'll have to make this super short and sweet, but here you can see some pretty solid results for both with and without the graphics card for Valorant. Because I don't want to have to rattle off both the settings and results with and without the graphics card, let's jump into a casual AF benchmarking montage, and then we'll wrap this video up. Hopefully you all enjoyed this build guide. It was kind of like 2 build guides in one video, but I also have the video that's on the screen now if you're looking for a similarly priced build that's a little bit off meta, but that one does include a graphics card as well. But just like always, I hope you enjoyed this video.